Hello everybody and welcome back to part 5 of this playthrough for Khare, City Port of Traps. In our last video, we've just gone through the abandoned house of Tita, who was a noble of Khare, and we've also gone through Dwarf Town, where we met a very rude store owner. We're now in a marketplace, and it's time for us to continue our adventure. The market is a maze of alleys. Every inch of space is being used for trade, with shops, stalls and piles of goods set on crates and barrels. Click continue when you're ready, and go to the flag into the crowd. Click continue, go to the flag below the dome, continue again, and go to the flag the far end. We're now at the furthest end of the market, and on our left a man's going to grab your sleeve and say you want to buy carpet. Find this carpet this side of the Balkans, made from real moths. Select look at the carpets. Go to continue, and go to the flag, the carpet shop. The man reassures you, very good carpet. How large you want? Size of bed, size of room, size of palace garden. I'll give you same price, which in itself is a bit suspicious. Select look at the carpet. The carpet that he's showing you seems to be made from 100,000 moth wings, all stitched together carefully. The colour is a dim grey. How about this? And he chucks the first carpet at the door and heaves out another. Tell him, I don't want a carpet. He just smiles at you, a smile as broad as the horizon. Here is one of our finest buzz moth, and he hurls the second carpet on top of the first and pulls out a third. Something rolls out from under his last carpet onto the floor. Select look at the thing. Distracted by your movement, he misreads it for a shake of your head. Whatever it is rolls under the edge of the other carpets. Perhaps something more expensive for your lady? And he stacks the third carpet on top of the fourth and pulls out a fifth. Select look under the other carpets. You stoop down and feel under the edge of the stack of carpets and find a pair of nose plugs, which is going to be very useful for us later. You keep stacking more and more carpets towards the side of you, so it's time to get out of this situation. Select cast a spell. The spell we're going to cast is Tell, so select T, E, L, and cast. We put on our skull cap and cast our spell, and begin to read his mind. He's thinking to himself that the pile of carpets is building up by the door, and if he can keep you a little bit longer, you'll be trapped. He says to you, perhaps something with a thicker pile, but we've had enough. Select attack the man. It only takes one solid punch to fell the carpet seller. Then you sweep out of the shop and back into the confusion of the market. Click continue, and go to the flag back to the market. Go to continue again, and this time go to the flag below the dome. Click continue, and go to the flag the artist. The artist is sitting with several paintings around him, and despite the paintings being excellent, you notice that he in fact has no hands. Select greetings. The artist is going to nod back at you and says, would you like to buy a painting? They are all originals, I assure you. We decided we're going to ask some very personal questions, so the first one we're going to ask is, what happened to your hands? His smile drops a little bit and he says, someone did not like the picture I drew of them. I think he saw a little too much truth in the image. We then decide to ask him, do you hold the brush in your mouth? He shakes his head and says, no, nothing like that. Ah, but to know my secret, you must step inside my hut. We'll take his advice and select the option, step inside the hut. Click continue and enter. Go to the flag, artist hut. The walls of the hut are covered in sketches and the floor is splattered with paint and ink. In the middle of the room is a paintbrush that seems to be doing its next painting. Select the option, look at the canvas. You cross the room and look at the canvas and your heart sinks. The brush is painting an image of you. Now that you had a closer look, the brush begins to edit the picture, refining its impression of your features. Select Stop the brush from working. Alarmed, you attempt to catch the paintbrush and stop it, but it squirms sideways from your grasp and quickly returns to the canvas, now working twice as fast. Select Slice at it with my sword. Drawing your sword, you slice at the paintbrush, but it's like trying to cut a fly out of the air. The brush dodges your blade, moving from the pot to the canvas, working with furious intent. Select Stab at the canvas. Thinking quickly, you strike the canvas instead, cutting a deep slash through it just as the paintbrush completes its work. A moment later, the picture begins to move. It drags itself up from the frame to stand before you. A moment later, a figure stands before you, a duplicate in primary colours, but with a deep gash across its chest. From outside, you hear the artist commanding the painting to grab your money. The duplicate lumbers forward, its sword drawn. Select Cast a Spell. The spell we're going to cast is Doze, so select D, O, Z, and cast. And as we cast the spell, the duplicate suddenly slows and appears listless. Pause the video here and continue once you've defeated the painting. Once you've defeated the painting, select the option to search the room. You'll begin ransacking the room, and you'll make quite the find. In one corner is a stack of pencil sketches labelled all the nobles of Khare that you need the spell line for. And better yet, it has their likeness, so now you know what they look like. You roll up the paintings and put them in your pack, and slip out of the hut once more. The artist tries to stop you with his foot. You buy, he asks. Say to him, your painting just tried to have me killed. The artist will simply shrug. My art is only what it sees, he answers. I am not responsible for your heart. Now, buy or leave, and he gestures away with his nose. Tell him that you have your reward already. You decide to try something and say, Vic for first noble. The artist nods, he salutes you by spitting at your feet. Mind how you go. Click continue, and go to the flag, back to the market. Continue again, and go to the flag, back down the market. Click continue, and go to the flag, the Fire Master. You approach the Fire Master, whose face is a patchwork of scars and scabs, and his smile is a ghastly one. Hello there, he groans. I hope you're interested in fires. You see white, green, blue and black fires burn side by side in a row. They're quite beautiful, almost hypnotic in a way. Select the option, what are they for? Different things, he replies vaguely. Maybe for relaxing, maybe for making the ladies fall in love with you. Some is for cooking, others are warm, but I don't sell many of those. My favourite, though, is inside, and he glances meaningfully at the hut door. Select the option, Show Me. Continue, and go to the flag, Fire Master's hut. In the center of the hut, a fierce fire is blazing away, threatening to engulf the entire room. But the flame is giving off very little heat. Select Go Closer. From here, you notice that there is a wooden chest at the center of the fire. You decide yourself that this is some sort of trap, and you best cast a spell of magical protection. Go to this option, cast a spell. The spell will be casting as Mage, so select small m, A, G, and cast. The spell should protect us now from anything that's magical in the flame. Select Look at the chest. Select Reach for the chest. Step into the flames. And you flip the chest open to reveal 10 gold pieces and a candle made of solid beeswax. Select Take Everything. And from outside you'll hear the Firemaster call, "Well, what do you make of it?" Select Very Impressive. The Firemaster nods and smiles, clearly hoping you will buy one of his lesser wares. Before we do though, let's ask him a couple of questions. Firstly, ask him about the fire in the abandoned house. He'll respond to you, "Perhaps I am not the only Firemaster in Khare, but I am the best." "A grand house, was it?" Select Yes. "Ah," he nods. "The house of Lord Tita, I would imagine. You trespassed if you went in there. You went blind, you know. So much for the 7th noble of Khare. He lives as a beggar now." Next, ask him about the North Gate. You explain that you need to pass through the North Gate of the city, and you ask him if he can help. The Firemaster shrugs. "Not many who do, none that I've heard of." Ask him about the spell lines. You explain that you learnt about the spell lines from an innkeeper when you first entered the city. "Good," he responds. "Well, you'll need no help from the likes of me. Unless you'll be wanting to know what the spell lines are, that might be harder. The nobles are all but disbanded. There's no council anymore, just an empty building with some guards." Select What happened to them. The Firemaster explains that no one knows how it started for sure, but he suspects that Sansa's the first noble is responsible, and that all the other nobles have gone to ground or are hidden. He already told you about Blind Tita already. Select I have to find them. The Firemaster simply responds with, "Then I'd keep my eyes open. These nobles are hiding in plain sight." He then folds his arms and says, "Now, are you buying a fire or aren't you?" Select Buy a Small Flame. The Firemaster says that the flames cost 8 gold pieces, and that it will give you a flame that burns on pure danger. He pulls a little box from a bag by his feet, and says that it will light when you open it and catch on anything that's dangerous nearby, if there's danger to be. Select Buy it. Select Move away from the market. And before you go, the Firemaster says, "Remember, it will not burn hot or bright or long." You respond with, "I will remember." Click Continue, and go to the flag, back to the market. Click Continue, and it's time for us to leave. Go to the flag below the dome. Click Continue, and go to Leave the Market. Unfortunately, there are so many stalls and so many people that you've become utterly lost. But not to worry, it's time to put those nose plugs we got earlier to use. Select Cast a Spell. And the spell we're going to cast is Nith. Select N, I, F and cast. People around you begin to retch and double over, clutching their stomachs. There is a sudden stampede for the exit, and it drags you with it. Click Continue, and go to the flag outside the market. There is a drinking fountain nearby. Select Drink, and recover a bit of stamina. Click Continue, and go to the flag, the plaza. We're now in a clearing. Ahead of us we see slum houses rise tall, squats piled upon squats. Select Make a Move. Click Continue, and go to the flag into the slums. You're now heading down the winding street between densely packed buildings. These houses were once fine, but have now been colonized by hordes of the poor. Trees and bushes grow from cracks in the rooftops, and the walls are streaked with droppings from birds. From the doorway, you can see people talk amongst themselves, watching you as you go. Select Ignore them, and as you try to ignore their gaze, you hear a voice. "You shouldn't ignore this lot," says a voice by your shoulder. "The people who live here are rich and important." Select Turn to look at the speaker. You turn to look at the speaker. It is a young man about your age who looks well dressed. He sticks out his hand and says, "Slang, at your service." You think to yourself, "Slang? Wasn't that the name of a local god?" Select the option, "Did you say slang?" The man looks vague for a moment. What's that? I think you heard me wrong." And then he smiles. "Where are you going? Maybe I can help you get there." And you think to yourself that this person is suspicious. Select I need no help. The young man replies, "That's a pity. I pretty much live to help people out, you see. Don't tell anyone, but I give the best advice around here." He lets out a long, contented sigh. "I love this city, I really do. You couldn't find a finer place with finer people. But what are you doing here?" You get more and more suspicious at this guy, and you select, "I'm just passing through." "Well, that's fair enough. Lots of people pass through Khare, from south to north and north to south. This place is pretty busy thoroughfare. That's why it's so rich. Just follow the crowd and you'll be into the Balkans in no time." Select, that doesn't seem likely. The young man looks shocked. "Do you think I'm lying? I never lie. I believe in absolutes. Everything you ever say should be totally true or totally false, and everything I say is true." You are turning a shallow bend in the road. Slang looks off into the distance for a moment. "This is where I stop. Anything else you want to ask me?" Select a firm no. "Poor choice," Slang advises. Then the young man pumps your hand and beams. "Pleasure talking to you," he says cheerfully, and rushes down the street. Go to the flag, follow the road. As you continue down the road, it becomes well paved, and the houses become more intact. There is washing on the balconies and slops in the street, but how these places can still be occupied is a mystery. It doesn't seem possible, as the ground floor of every building has been solidly boarded up to prevent raiders and there is no way in. A man with a ladder walks past. Select, ask him about the ladder. The man looks at you like you're an idiot. "Going home," he replies. The man stops by one of the houses, props the ladder against the boards, and begins to climb up to the second floor window. He pulls up the ladder smartly behind him. Select Keep watching. but it becomes clear why this simply isn't the man's home, as he said. After a while, you see a few other people arrive with ladders of their own, and they climb up in a similar fashion. A little further up the street, you see a small girl, sitting dejectedly by one of the boards. Select Go over to her. You approach the girl. She's clearly been crying, but wipes her eyes quickly as you approach. What do you want? She demands. I ain't selling any turnips now. Ask her, do you need any help? No, why do you need help? Do you need help? You look lost. Say to her, you've been crying. What if I have? She retorts. Wouldn't you, if you were locked out? Ask her, locked out of where? She points to one of the windows. I left my ladder at home. Select the option, I'll help you. She shrugs, but is suddenly a little hopeful. How? You don't have anything. Select Use Magic. Stand back, you declare. Watch this. Select Cast a Spell. The spell we're going to cast is Big. Select B, I, G, and cast. You cast a spell growing to 3 times your size. Then you scoop up the terrified girl and lift her into the air. She's quaking with fear, and then she understands. The girl laughs and claps her hands and climbs quickly into the window. Thank you, she calls down from above. I thought you were one of Vic the Slaver's men. Here, and she disappears into the house for a moment, finally reappearing to toss something down to you. It's not much, just an apple. Select Talk to her. Say to her that you'd like to buy a ladder. She says to you, so you can climb up here and rob us? I don't think so. Select You Can Trust Me. The girl peers at you. We've got a spare, she admits. It'll cost you 8 gold pieces. Select That's Too Much. The girl chews her lip and says 6 then. Select Buy it. You take out the money and show it to the girl. Toss it up, she says. Select Throw up half. The girl drops a square bit of cloth from the window. You put your coins inside, tie it up, and throw it back. You see her pause to count it, and then disappears from view. Select Wait. After a few moments, she is back with something in her arms, which she throws out the window. A rope ladder, she declares, so you can't climb up and rob us. You gather it up and stuff it into your backpack. Now, the girl says, the rest of the money. You can choose to walk away if you want to, but I recommend to be kind and select Pay the rest. You toss up the remaining gold to the girl. Have a nice day, she declares, waving at you. And if you're staying the night, avoid the Wayfarer's Rest, or you might get to meet Vic after all. It's time for us to continue. Select Continue, and go to the flag, a junction. You come across another fountain. Select Drink from the fountain to get a little bit of stamina back. Click Continue, and go to the flag, go right. As you continue down the street, you're going to come across a rough-looking girl who seems to be a beggar. She says to you, spare a coin. Select the option to toss her a coin. By Effie, she cries, a whole coin. I was expecting a quarter of one from the look of you. Thanking you. And you nod in return. Now this bit is optional. There's a chance to earn a bit of money here by playing Swindle Stones with the beggar girl. If you're not interested in doing this, select Move On. If you would like to earn a bit of money, which I recommend you do, select Ask About Herself, Sit and Play, and bet 4 gold pieces. If you do that, pause the video here and carry on once you've won. Just as a quick reminder, if you do ever play Swindle Stones with anybody in this playthrough, and you have the option to play them multiple times, do try and maximise your money because it'll make book 3 and book 4 a whole lot easier. When you're ready, go to the flag into the slums. And that's that for part 5. I'll see you all in the next video.